Alright, so first, sorry about my voice. I got a sore throat. But I just wanted to pop in real quick and say I recorded this a while ago. I know this is an old trailer now that I recorded a while ago. I just forgot to release this. I am aware that there is a new trailer, and I will check. I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out, and I'll post a video about that one as well if you guys like this one. So here you go. Here's the old trailer.
Oh yeah, that Lords of the Fallen is coming out. You know what? Okay, let's get to the bottom of this real quick. So Minnen brought up something about this game that I didn't realize. I watched the trailer for Lords of the Fallen, and I was quite impressed by it. But there's a couple things. Should we watch the trailer? Extended gameplay trailer? Yeah, this is the one.
Mornstead has fallen. Its great army decimated by the legions of Adir, the demon god. But one light still flickers in the ever-growing gloom. The light of the Dark Crusader.
Like, the thing standing out to me here is this visual design. When I first saw this, I thought that it was Mortal Shell, which the best thing about Mortal Shell was the trailer and the visual design, you know? Man, that game looked fucking awesome, and this looks a lot like that.
The radiance of Mornstead withers. Adir's darkness.
Hang on though.
Desolate.
This guy back here really looks like a Elden Ring character. How would you say it? It's like somewhat animalistic. The red mane, the kind of lanky proportions that almost make them look like an animal, you know?
Adir's darkness threatens to desolate our world.
But yeah, I think I'm just specifically reminded of like the red mane guys.
Boreas, my child.
And hey, there's the 5 fingers. Remember those from Elden Ring?
As his holy redeemer.
Yeah, the guys you fight in the swamp, exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
In light we walk.
Is this a glove with rings on it?
Burn their very souls to ash.
All right. So here we go. So now we get into some quick gameplay here. We got giant enemy, right? Looks awesome. This is very Bloodborne-y, very Elden Ring-y. This is looking good. You know, here he is doing a big swipe. Like, this looks like a fun fight. Also, I have to point out something that there's something that whenever there's like a Soulsy looking game coming out, I always bitch about the camera perspective being like fucking locked onto the character's chest, right? And they are offset 1/3 to a side of the screen, and the camera's locked onto them, unmoving, right? I hate that. I think it makes the game look super clunky and terrible. But if we look here, that's not happening. Right here, the character, boom, dead center in the screen, relatively small. Here, they dead center in the screen, relatively small. They dodged and went off to the left a little bit because they're moving left. Here they're dodging to the right. The character, did you see it? The character is off to the right of the screen because they're dodging right. This is good camera. This is looking like it doesn't control like shit. I just want to point it out because these trailers never do it the right way. I always complain about how this shit looks to play, and everyone's like, Dash, it's not that bad, you just gotta try it. No. This is what looks good. Anyway, big looking fight, you know, shooting a spell, cool, awesome. I'm into it.
Mark of the Dark Crusaders.
And now they're gonna hit us with some fucking Iron Maiden? Look at this. Like the big hand in the back. Oh man, with like that's under this like eclipse. Like this, the art direction here looks really, really cool. Holy shit, look at this. Bro. I mean, a lot of it is very FromSofty, right? This is very, like, Messenger-ish. Wait a second, though. I mean, these are kind of Messenger-ish with, like, the mouths, but, like, look at this thing. This big head with, like, these tendrils with the skulls. Like, this looks fucking sick.
Great potential dwells within you, doubtless, for you to be chosen.
And hang on. Is this like our bonfire? We got this cool looking thing.
Dwells within you.
I mean, maybe it's a bonfire, maybe not. I don't know.
For you to be chosen.
Like you gotta pause every every shot that they're giving you because they all look so good. Like art direction, dude. The art direction is blowing my mind with this game. Look at this. Look how cool this thing looks. This looks really sick. I mean, yeah, a lot of it, right. Like, if you're a fan of Souls games, I mean, they're definitely really going for this style that, like, that, you know, FromSoft has been working on for a long time. But I mean, I think that they're nailing it, though. Like, cause it's got a little bit more. The thing that doesn't look Soulsy about this is the stuff that looks more Mortal Shell-y, I would say, you know, with like specifically stuff that's like metal masks and thorny crowns and like that kind of imagery isn't really in Souls much, I don't think. But yeah, like this looks really cool. Again, character, center of the frame, and relatively small. Like, it's so important. Oh, man! Oh, look at that! Here you got, I know I'm deconstructing this maybe too much, but like, the way that the character moves off-center, they actually have some mobility within the frame of the camera.
Prove yourself worthy of this gift.
Also, Iron Maiden is playing. So this was a very good decision as well. Wait a sec, what was this thing? Hang on a second. Look at this big fucking thing. Yo. Like, this is crazy. Makes me think a little bit of Ludwig, but like, not really.
By your radiance, grant me the strength to continue to endure these dark days. Continue to endure these dark days.
Hang on. We gotta see this thing now. There seems to be a location in this game that has a bunch of blue things that look like this. And these things are really doing it for me, visually. So, like, I keep having to, pause those parts. Hang on, we gotta see a couple of these spots again.
Your suffering ends.
We got some dodging.
Another unfortunate.
Now, I'm not so sure about, like, so I'm noticing when you block... Man, that's a huge spark effect. I wish I could see, like, the HUD, you know? I realize it's a cinematic trailer, but I want to see the HUD so I can see, like, the actual gameplay implications of just holding up a shield against this guy, you know?
Another unfortunate made a slave to unceasing hunger. I pity you.
Okay. So here's something that worries me. And this is a big part of the feel of FromSoft games, all right? And this is something that I don't hear people talk about ever. Okay, watch this. Look at the enemy's legs. When they are struck here, the enemy has zero reaction whatsoever. Now, some blood came out, so you know you hit him, but the enemy didn't react in the slightest. Now, maybe that's just this enemy, but the thing about, like, FromSoft games, for example, let's just take the example of the people who make the best games that are like this. Let's,
Peggy 16.
Let's recall what the gameplay looked like here immediately. I mean, look, this is not quite equivalent because it's a small enemy, but still, like, when this thing gets hit, immediate response, right? Immediate response. This is a detail, but, like, this is the shit that I see when I watch gameplay and I'm thinking about what the game feels like to play. It means so much to me that the enemy is responding to being hit. Now, the enemy that's in the Lords of the Fallen trailer, though, looks like a boss, and it looks like it's in the middle of an attack, and so it's not going to get staggered out of it. Okay, that's fine, but FromSoft covers that also. You see how he's in the middle of an attack animation right now, but every one of these attacks that hits him makes him stutter just a little bit. It's not interrupting his animation, but it's changing it slightly to show the impact. You see this dog on the left? It comes over and it hits him and he kind of wiggles. He wiggles a little. I'm telling you right now, Joe! Every time that he gets hit, you see him wiggling a little bit? He wiggles a little bit. So it's like, yeah, he's getting hit. Oh, there we saw some good ones right there. Right here. Like, he's not getting staggered. Right when he gets up here. Right here, he gets hit a few times. And, oh my god, the YouTube, frame by frame is not working for me. Okay? He's just flinching. Exactly! I'm saying that that's good! It's not changing what he's doing, but he's wiggling. I think that is fucking huge for how the game feels to play. You know? And so that's exactly what I'm worried about. It gives me just a little bit of worry when I see this in this trailer and this enemy is in this animation and they get fucking clocked by this big attack and they have absolutely zero response to it.
To you.
You see that? You see how unsatisfying that hit looked? You know? So I'm worried about it. Alright? That's all I'm saying.
Reignite the blessed beacons of Mornstead and thwart Adir's cataclysmic resurrection.
Everything else about this trailer, though, right, maybe they just still have to implement the hit wiggle, right? We can call it hit wiggle trademark. That's a Dash Retro trademark. You got to get the hit wiggle. Maybe they're still working on that. But yeah, there you go. So anyway, that's the Lords of the Fallen trailer. I think that this game looks fucking awesome. From just visually, the most of what we can glean out of the gameplay, I think looks very good here. I'm excited about this game. I think that this is something to keep an eye on, coming out in October here. Now, Minin asks the question, though. Minin asked earlier, am I going to play original Lords of the Fallen or the Surge? Is this a different video? No, they just put this on at the end. Okay, this is actually a good showcase of that stuff that I was talking about. Do we have any hit wiggle here? There wasn't any on that. We didn't get impact there. No hit wiggle, no hit wiggle. So yeah, like as far as a trailer goes, I'm giving that trailer like a fucking 9 out of 10, you know? But developers of this game, please, you've got 5 months. You got to get some hit wiggle in there. However, here's the deal, though. We don't give a shit about pre-order bonuses. I'm not going to pre-order it. I'm going to go to Target when it comes out, and they're going to have a copy of it. And if they don't, I'll play something else that day. Okay, now, there is something kind of weird to bring up about this game, though. It is developed by Hexworks. Who the hell is Hexworks? What's weird about the fact that it's developed by Hexworks, Lords of the Fallen 2014 was made by Deck 13. And so it is just very odd that Deck 13 made a game called Lords of the Fallen that to me looked very uninteresting. I probably won't play it because I just don't think it looks good or interesting. But maybe I could be convinced otherwise. But you know, there's just too much other stuff to play, and this one looked too generic to me. You know what I mean? But they made this game. They also made The Surge and The Surge 2, right? Which Minin played and liked. And you know, they looked aight, right? The Surge game looked they looked okay. They're yeah, like Deck 13, they made The Surge, they made The Surge 2, which are, from what I've heard, generally pretty well liked Souls-like games. They're like sci-fi Souls-like games. And then now it's generally just kind of weird that in 2023 now, a different developer is making a different game with the same exact name. Well, it's the same publisher, so I can only imagine that CI Games has owned the Lords of the Fallen name this entire time, probably. So it's the same publisher, but it's a different team making a game with the same exact name, even though the game itself looks totally different. I don't know. I just think that's a little weird. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a sequel, in which case it's weird that it's not called Lords of the Fallen 2. But yeah, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, it's like they're doing a do-over, but it's also but it's a different developer. I just want to know what Deck 13 thinks of this, really. But then again, I thought that their Lords of the Fallen game looked kind of numpty. Okay, here we go. Executive producer of Lords of the Fallen 2014 confirmed the development of a sequel. So they are calling it a sequel here. CI Games announced that the game will be released in 2017 and confirmed that Deck 13 Interactive, the lead developer of the first game, would not be involved. The executive producer of the first one revealed in 2017 that the game spent 2 years on concept. CI Games has significantly downsized the development team and reduced the scope of the game. This actually sounds good to me. Following the disappointing release of Sniper Ghost Warrior, or Ghost Warrior 3. Right, because they also make those games. I mean, honestly, like, I always just think, like, downsizing is good. Like, you know, pull the scope back on a lot of games that are coming out nowadays and just make a smaller, better game. Anyway, so CI Games announced that Defiant Studios will lead the game's development in 2018 and that they would restart the game's development from scratch. However, CI Games terminated its contract with Defiant 1 year later as it deemed their work on the game inadequate. CI Games then founded Hexworks in 2020, led by Saul Father Gascoigne, executive producer, and Cesar, I don't know how to pronounce names that look like this, creative director to work on the game. Okay, so they founded Hexworks, led by those two guys. I don't know who those two guys are, though. Were they mentioned anywhere else? Okay, anyway, the game was officially revealed by CI Games during Gamescom in 2018 as The Lords of the Fallen. Okay. So they did the old Final Destination thing where then they made a movie called The Final Destination. Then it was rebranded simply as Lords of the Fallen in March. They revealed that the game was once named Lords of the Fallen: The Dark Crusade, though the studio dropped the name as they found the title similar to that of a downloadable content pack, one that does not reflect the game's status as a reboot of the series. Also, if I'm real, The Dark Crusade is one of the most generic sounding names I've ever heard. So I think that that's probably fine to not call it that. But similar to that of a downloadable content pack, was that one of the, does that mean it's of the first game? Because that would also be in line with the first game just seeming very generic overall, I thought. One that does not reflect the game's status as a reboot of the series. Okay. I mean, so if they are, so now it's a reboot. So this is like textbook development hell here. They were going to make a sequel, right? And then they were going to make a sequel, but it's with a different studio. And then they downsized it. And then they started over. And then they made a new studio. And now and it got renamed 3 times until they eventually decided to name it the same thing, and it's a reboot. Okay. Hexworks had high ambitions for the game, with Vertosu is the creative director, adding that the studio wanted to be the second reference after From Software for the Soulsborne genre. I like this quote. They're not doing I don't know though. This is an interesting quote. Because they're not saying we're going to outdo FromSoft. They're going to say we want to be the next thing that people think of when they think of Soulsborne. Which I think that shows realistic ambition. You know what I mean? Because the bar for non-FromSoft Soulsbornes is not super high. I know, like, people love Nioh, but still, you can outdo Nioh. I would say that's what it is. Crow Come Over is I would say the next thing people think of is Nioh. It's set to be released October 13th. So yeah, this is worrisome. This is textbook development hell, but the trailer looks really good. So, I have cautious optimism. I think the trailer looks really good, but I do think that like little hints about what the gameplay looks like do kind of make it seem like it might have a little bit of that jank where it just doesn't feel good to play. Maybe. You know, like something like Mortal Shell that felt like absolute fucking crummy ass to play. So, you know, so we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic about this one.